With the latest county hot topics, news, business, and events. It's time for Spotlight on Cumberland County. Now let's join our host, Commissioner Director Jim Sauro.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jim Sauro. I'm the Cumberland County Commissioner Director, and we're here tonight with the Sheriff of Cumberland County, and that's Michael Donato. I'm really happy that you're here today.
Director, I appreciate you having me on. And you're right, it does look like the administration film.
It does. That's it. No, really, I'm really happy that you came out here. What we'd like to do tonight is let the people know about you. I mean, I don't think a lot of people know who Mike Donato is. The individuals go out, they vote, and a lot of times they really don't know who they're voting for and what that person is about. So that's what we'd like to do tonight is to let everybody know just who Mike Donato is. And we'll start off with Mike Donato. I know was born and raised in South Jersey.
Oh,
okay?
Yes.
I mean the real
South Cumberland.
the real South Jersey, right?
Yeah.
Where were you born and raised at? Mike?
So I was obviously born in Bridgeton Hospital way back when, but we've pretty much lived in Cedarville my entire life, other than a very short stay in Bridgeton. My parents' family all grew up Cedarville pretty much our entire lives, and still there today, and love every minute of it.
What Pop do?
So my dad was a carpenter millwrights in the unions, construction work for many, many years.
Construction.
Yeah, and then obviously my mom worked at the school there for 20-some years, I think, before she retired.
Teacher?
No, she was actually in the cafeteria, managed the cafeteria.
All right.
And she was with us at home, when we were growing up. And then as we started to get older and my brothers and sisters and stuff, she went to work there. So spent 20-some years there, I think, before she retired.
So you went to the local school down there?
Yeah, actually I went to kindergarten, Myron L. Powell, and then did all my grade school right here in Millville at St. Mary Magdalene. Went 8th grade, and then attended Millville High School.
That with the nuns, huh?
Yes. Yep. It was still back then, back in the 80s.
I'm laughing because so did I. I went to Catholic school from 1st to 9th grade. Mm-hmm. Okay, St. Francis. Well, we were born on the wrong side of the track, is what we were born. Okay. So what happened was, 1st to 3rd, I went to Sacred Heart grade school. Okay. And then that's when St. Francis opened up, and 4th to 8th, I went to St. Francis, and then I went back to Sacred Heart in 9th grade. Then my father found out that the public education was free, so he pulled everybody out. But what nuns did you have, out of curiosity?
Oh man, I'll tell you off the top of my head, I
were
remember.
They St. Joe or Lady of Mercy?
It was right here in St. Mary Magdalene, and off the top of my head, I although I loved it, I had went there, and it's funny because just about 5 or 6 months ago, I actually found a page where a bunch of people that we graduated with from that school, some of which I haven't heard of, on Facebook. Okay. And, seen some, and they started posting some of the old pictures we had, and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool, but, you don't think about it. But it was a nice little school. There wasn't a whole lot of kids in our graduating class, and then that gave me the opportunity, graduating from there to go to Millville High School, where all my friends were at that point.
Sports? Anything with
sports?
Yeah,
I played football in high school, and then on the track team,
what'd you do in track? Spring.
I pole vaulted. I know I'm not built like it now, but I never was built like this back then.
All right, wait a minute. No, wait, I got to go in for you. I got to go. Yeah. My daughters, I have twin girls, okay, Dominique and Danielle. Yep. All right. They took track. Now, they were 5'0", and they weighed less than 100 pounds. And they
were perfect for it.
They were pole vaulters. Yeah. Okay. And my daughter Nikki had the Violent High record for a number of years, and her sister Danielle was 6 inches lower. So it was very interesting, and it was weird how it all came up, and because they wanted you to continue when you were on the football team. They wanted you to continue to play sports and stay in shape and do stuff. So during the winter we did workouts, and then you had to do something in the spring and get out. I said, I'm going to go out for track, but I really know what I want to do. And I look over and I see some of these guys are pole vaulting. I was like, I got to try that. Like, I want to do that. Like, how do you do that?
and I did it. So
Good?
I was okay. I mean, set the world on fire. Actually, my junior year, I blew my knee out, but I was able to pole vault my senior year, but I didn't play football my senior year.
Okay.
I blew my knee out. Back then, they do a lot of different surgeries. They did surgery different back then than they do now when you blow your knee. I was laid up for quite a while.
Oh, they used to cut long.
Yes, and that's what I have.
Yeah, you got the long cut, 7, 8 inches.
But it was fun. I enjoyed it. High school was a great time. I look back and a lot of people talk like, I wish I could go back to high school, and I had a great time. It was nice. Millville was a great school, still is. They're expanding like crazy over there.
From high school, you went to?
High school, I just attended right here in Cumberland, stayed here local. Okay. Went to Cumberland County College, and was working, and then I began my dream job shortly thereafter in '94.
What got you, Mike Donato, into law enforcement? I mean, where did you step? How did you step into law enforcement at all?
So I'll tell you, I've been a member of the Cedarville Fire Department for, I think this is my 35th year, 34th year, something like that. And I was actively involved.
Great barbecues.
Yeah, crab dinner. I got to throw that out there too, the crab dinner. But I was actively involved in the community. My dad was in the fire department. He was a chief and an officer there for many years, a chief for a year. And I just enjoyed all of that. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about becoming a paramedic because I wanted to go on and do to be a flight medic on the helicopters. And I was trying to start to pursue that. But then I was also like, I wanted to go in law enforcement. I wanted to do something along that lines. And, I was 23, 24 years old and trying to figure it out. I got to get this figured out and start, start something. And took the test and wound up getting hired at the Sheriff's Department by Sheriff Forstanito back in '94, and worked at the jail for a year and worked at the courthouse and some other assignments. And that's where I started.
Well, then
right
you went training through with Forstanito. You took the schooling.
Yep, went to the police academy under Forstanito, and then worked at the Sheriff's Department for about 4 years, and went to Bridgeton City. I was a Bridgeton City police officer, and honestly, back then the police department, I loved the police department. It was a great city to work in. It was great people. The organization was good, and still is today. But I just found myself I'm not leaving here. This is my home.
Right.
And was up and working in detectives for several years, and there started to be a lot of changes back then. With the county prosecutor's office, and they started going in a direction of doing a lot of hiring, and they came to me and offered me a job, and I started there.
Oh, so the prosecutor's office came to you for?
Yeah, I had been assigned. I was doing some assignments with them for the county drug unit. Okay. And I was kind of working under them at the prosecutor's office. And when they were starting to make these changes, they were basically going around recruiting. Mm-hmm. And listen, I was very fortunate. I was shocked, when they came to me and wanted to offer me a job and talk to me. Because at first I was like, no, I'm going to stay at Bridgeton. I love Bridgeton. I love the guys I'm working with, and kind of talk to some people. And I was basically said, you need to go to the prosecutor's office. And I was like, okay. So went to the prosecutor's office, and man, I'll tell you, I had a great career. I was made sergeant, was able to retire in 2020 as a lieutenant, worked a lot of different in a lot of different units and a lot of different law enforcement agencies and people all over the state and federal level.
Well, you were an investigator. Is that correct, for a number of years?
I was a detective there for a long time, and obviously when I got promoted to sergeant, I was a sergeant of the major crimes unit. I was a sergeant of the narcotics unit for the county, and it was. I look back on my career and I just tell people I loved every aspect of it. I don't know that I had a bad time at all.
Wow,
and
that's
if I could go back again and do it, I would do it in a minute because I just enjoyed it.
Okay, so much. I got to ask you this. Any particular cases that just always stuck in your mind that you were either happy to work it, not happy to work it? I mean, what?
So, I was a detective in the major crimes unit for many years, and a supervisor, in those cases, when you're working some of them, and we dealt with some of the worst. But there was quite a few cases that I was very proud of, that either me or the guys that worked with me or for me and under me. There was a lot of them, because every time, we were going out on shootings and all this stuff that was going on, and it's good to bring closure to those cases. And there was a lot of them.
White collar crimes? Were you involved in any of that? Or
there was this one case I did for this one family that I helped out. Towards the end of my career, I was a lieutenant and helped them out with a case, where there's some stuff with, the books, but we did that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So it was, it was good. We handled, and that was the thing. Like, if I look back, I've probably handled, just about everything out there at some point, or had to help, or at least helped with just about every kind of case out there. Very fortunate career. Very thankful for being able to get promoted and making rank and moving on. It was perfect timing in my career.
Back then, was it Kenny Plugi as your prosecutor? Or
yes. So when I got hired, I got hired under Prosecutor Casella, and Kenny Plugi was the first assistant at the time.
Okay.
I didn't work for Plugi when he was the prosecutor years ago. I wasn't really around then. I was around, but I was very young.
Okay, so you got him
before my career got started.
You got him when he was the assistant. I mean,
yes.
Did you work under Arthur at all, Marchand?
Not under him, but he was the county prosecutor when I was working for Bridgeton.
Oh, for Bridgeton.
Yeah, when I was working for Bridgeton, he was the county prosecutor back then.
So then it was Casella that you worked under.
Yeah, Casella was the one that hired me, and first assistant was Kenny Plugi, and Kenny Tommaso was the chief at the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that was in 2000. When was that? 2005, I believe. Yeah, actually 2005.
And you retired from the prosecutor's office in 2020?
2020.
All right.
And then dove right into other stuff.
A lot of people would say, why would you do something like? I mean, I know that you started off in the sheriff's department. I know that you went to Bridgeton. Okay, and then you're telling everybody you went to the prosecutor's office. What made you decide to say, you know what, I'm gonna be the sheriff and I'm gonna make a difference? What spurred that? What made you make that decision?
So it definitely wasn't something that just happened overnight. And it's kind of funny when I still talk to some of the guys that were we used to talk about it. So when I was a detective at the prosecutor's office, we worked all over the county.
Right.
We would go everywhere. So no matter, we worked everywhere. I was involved with the fire department in Cedarville, so I knew a lot of people through the fire department and the service, and my dad knew a lot of people, so everybody knew me as, Sonny's boy. And anytime we would go somewhere, I would know somebody. And the guys at the office started kind of making a joke about it a little bit. And they're like, when you're all done this, you need to run for sheriff. I mean, this is 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. And it was just kind of like a running joke. And I started to, it just really started to take off. I was like, when I do get done this, I want to get involved. I want to be a part of, the county and still doing things. And I'm like, I got a background in law enforcement. I've worked in this county forever. I've worked everywhere in the county. Why not continue to try and get involved? And working for the prosecutor's office at the time, you were not allowed to get involved in politics, right?
Sure.
So you got to kind of stay out of it, which, the moment I retired, I basically dove headfirst into it. And I was like, I want to do this. And it was funny because my retired date was, in 20 I could go, 2020. So the guys at the office for years, and I would find them all over the place, would take these Post-it notes and they would write MD 2020 on it. And it was like it was a little bit of a joke going around the office amongst some of the guys that worked with me and under me, and everybody said, "What does that mean?" I was like, no, we can't talk about that. But some of the people knew what it was, and then it just steamrolled from there. And I was like, I really do want to do this.
Now, how many years were you in when you finally retired?
I had my 25. I was over 25 years.
Okay.
So I did my 25, and with the pension, it was roughly 25 and a half. and I saw an opportunity in 20 to potentially make, to try and run, and, took a chance. Was I ready to fully retire? Looking
Obviously
back
not.
on it, I don't think.
Obviously not. You weren't.
I really, retire. When I say retire,
Right.
but retire from the
Right.
office.
Sure.
I look back on it and go, I don't know that I was 100% ready.
Right.
I was ready enough, and I knew I had a good opportunity. If I could get the opportunity to do it, like this was the time to try and do it, and I left
before
and
we
we made a run.
Before we get into the next segment, I believe that we have to take a station break so we can pay some bills.
Allen Associates is a family-owned and operated full-service agency, managing a broad base of clients in the New Jersey area. Allen Associates has been a leader in health benefits and financial services including health, prescription, life insurance, pension, 401k plans and estate planning. With more than 60 years of experience and a staff of highly trained and dedicated professionals, Allen Associates is noted for its ability to build strong, long-term relationships with our clients and the communities we serve. Give them a call today at 856-692-2250. Allen Associates, your complete health and financial services, Vineland, New Jersey.
Many people treat their health like a game. With Complete Care Health Network, it's easy to start your healthcare journey. Just select from our specialties and schedule online, by phone, or on our app. Our entire team communicates with one another, so everyone works together on your total health. Plus, we make it even easier with all of these additional benefits. Level up your health with us. Complete Care Health Network. No games, just great healthcare for everyone.
In Cumberland County, let's recycle right. We recycle cardboard, paper, aluminum, tin, and plastics number 1 and 2. Look for the 3-arrow triangle usually on the bottom of the plastic container. The number in the center determines the plastic number. Remember to recycle only number 1 and 2 plastics. Plastic bags, plastic film, hoses, and wires are not recyclable. They can damage sorting equipment and create hazardous working conditions. Don't trash our future. Do the right thing. Remember, reduce, reuse, and recycle.
With the latest county hot topics, news, business, and events. It's time for Spotlight on Cumberland County. Now let's join our host, Commissioner Director Jim Sauro.
Well, welcome back. I'm glad you didn't change the channel. We're still here.
Hopefully they're still here.
We're still here. We're talking with Mike Donato. He is our sheriff for Cumberland County, and we were going over where he grew up, where he went to school, and his early part of law enforcement. Mm-hmm. And off the air, I had to make the comment to him. You know, it's pretty impressive when you have all your colleagues doing the kind of things that they were doing, post-it notes, constantly talking to you, saying, you should be running for sheriff. That means a lot. It really does. Sometimes people kind of let that go, but it means a lot because that means they trusted you. They really think that you could do the job. Otherwise, I know they say, well, they were only joking. There's a certain amount of seriousness when a person jokes. So that is a really great thing that they believed in you. Now that they believed in you and you retired, and we knew that you weren't really ready to retire from law enforcement, maybe you were just ready to retire from the prosecutor's office. But that first time that you ran, now we all remember the first time we ran, okay? Because I do.
Yeah.
My first time I ran was back in 1998. Mm-hmm. So, yes, do I remember? Yes, I do. I remember every bit of it and the work that goes with it. But I'm going to let you describe all that as a person who left the prosecutor's office and decided to go on another venture.
Yeah, I had to jump right into it, obviously, with everything the way it, when I retired, was March 1st was my first official day, and jumped right into the process and meeting with everybody and going through that process, and I was, I knew a lot of work went into it. I knew that I didn't know really how the process worked, But I do know that seeing people who were part of it and running and the stuff that they were doing was the amount of time and effort that you put into it. Because it's all what you make it. Like, you could sit home and do something, or you could be out knocking on doors attending events and getting out there and getting yourself out there and talking to people. And I was ready for it. I was ready, my family was ready for it. They knew I wanted to do it. They supported me. I kind of share this story. And with my dad, they voted all the time, and he didn't like some of the stuff that went on in politics. And then I guess probably say a lot of people sometimes they don't like some of the stuff that goes on with it. And I remember sitting there talking to him, and I said, I'm going to run for sheriff after I retired. He's like, Michael, you're 48 and a half, almost 49 years old. You're retired. You had a great career. You got a pension. Why don't you go fishing? Why don't you go hunting? Why don't you go, because why don't you stay involved, watch the kids' sports? And, because we were always all my kids were actively involved with sports or something in school. And I said, well, I'm going to do all that too.
Oh, wait, okay. You brought something up, but we got to give kudos to certain people. Your daughter. Okay.
All of them, yeah.
Your daughters, they played lacrosse, is it? Or
field hockey.
Field hockey. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. They played field hockey, but they weren't just okay or good.
They were okay.
They were excellent.
Yeah, they were okay.
They were excellent. Come on, tell everybody how the NCAA, right?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
let the people know.
I have 4 children.
Right.
3 girls are oldest. My son's the youngest. We always had them involved in some sort of sports from the time they were little. All of them, whether it was soccer, softball, baseball, field hockey, and basketball, intramural sports, whatever it was, they were involved. My oldest one, Alyssa, she played every sport she could get her hands on. Like, she never wanted to give it a break, and went on to play Division II field hockey. Very successful, All-American. She did good. Now she coaches at Frostburg State, Division II field hockey. She's coach. Middle daughter Christina, same thing. Sports all coming up. Gets into high school. Junior year, blows her knee out. Her too. She was a great defender. Did good. She loved. She enjoyed it playing. And then I just remember she went through that whole knee thing, and she's like, I'm not going through that again. So she knew what she wanted to do. She attended Rowan, graduated Rowan, first grade. Now she's a first grade teacher, been a first grade teacher for several years. She turned around a couple years ago and started helping out with a local field hockey team. So she's helping out still, coaching that, doing very good. Youngest daughter, Juliana, same thing, field hockey. She had, I look back on some of it when the 2 older ones were playing. She probably had a field hockey in her stick in her hand when she was 5 years old. I don't know. She played all very good. Her too, 2-time All-American, Division II field hockey at Kutztown, where Alyssa went. Her and Alyssa went to the same school. Very good. National champions. Runner up national championship last year. She's a senior this year, going to be graduating. Just, I can't be proud of all of them. And then Jarrett, same thing. We had Jarrett in pretty much every sport. And there was even a time where, and boys play field hockey. Some people don't know that boys play field hockey.
Right.
Okay. So he played a little bit too, and it just didn't take off for him, but he excelled in soccer. He loved soccer. So we played all through high school. And then he was just like, I think I'm not going to play in college, because he had an opportunity to play. He stayed local. He's going right here in Cumberland, Rowan in South Jersey, in his second year. He says, it broke our hearts, because now we're done. Like, we're going to have to find some other families that have kids in sports so we can go watch them.
That's good.
We'll go watch it. But no, listen, all 4 of them just, we have 4 good kids, very fortunate. They've done good, and, now they're they're still staying with it. I'm sure Juliana will find something to do with field hockey at some point when she's done this year too. So,
Well,
very proud. We've had a lot of fun over the years.
I just wanted to bring that out because I know you were proud of that. I know there was times where you took off to go see them.
Yeah.
And by the way, I am a firm believer. Family always comes first. We discussed that.
Yeah.
Always comes first. Nothing comes before your family.
Yeah.
Just, and I'm a firm believer of that. I made the mistake once. I told you about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just never. I always regretted it. Never forgot it. But okay, now we'll go back to the
So
the campaign.
So 20, I ran and I learned a lot. Learned a lot about the process.
It was the worst year in the world to run, though.
It was bad because it was the mail-in ballot. It was all mail-in, pure ballot, and there's a lot going on. COVID was going on, so there was a lot going on with that, and it was tough. And me coming into it, not knowing a lot, that threw even a bigger wrench because there wasn't a lot of places and things that you could go do,
right?
Which kind of hindered it a little bit. But we gave it an effort. We ran and we did everything we could possibly do. And it unfortunately didn't work out. But I learned a lot.
But you had a good showing, though. If I
Oh,
remember
absolutely.
correctly.
Yeah,
It was you had a good showing,
Yeah, I had a good
especially
showing.
since it was the first time you ran.
Right.
Okay. 2, it was during COVID. 3,
Right.
it was very, very difficult for you to get out and meet people.
Oh, absolutely.
So all of this put that all together, and the loss wasn't.
No,
it wasn't
for learning and getting involved, and I remember finally it took a long time. I want to say it was a week. No, it was definitely not a week. It was probably 2 weeks where we really knew the final results.
Yes.
So every night they would update because of the process and the counting process that went on. And, I went and watched the process over here at the college where they were doing it, and they were doing everything they could. I mean, there was people in there just steady day after day, hours on end, working and trying to get the ballots sorted and counted and done. And I remember finally when it was all over with, talking to Senator Testa and the chairman, and he's like, Michael, he goes, you did a really good job. I was like, yeah, but I lost. He's like, well, this is your first time. But he goes, I'm telling you, look, your numbers are just, And then that's kind of where I said, I can't just not do this again. So, I stayed actively involved with a lot of things for over the next couple of years. And then, then I got to run again and with a great slate of people, and we had fun, right?
We did. And I want everybody to know something.
We had fun.
This is the God's honest truth. We called him the Colonel, okay? And the reason why we called him the Colonel was he was tough on all of us, all right? Now, I had run before. I had run a number of times, okay? But even I went, yes, sir. I was ready to give him the salute, man. He made sure that we went out there and we worked hard, and we did.
We did.
And we had a lot of fun, but we truly worked very hard, and we knocked on doors, shook hands. We were everywhere.
We were everywhere.
But I got to admit, and I really do mean this, that you were in the forefront of doing all that. You set everything up. You set up a lot of stuff to make sure that we did not run out of things to do.
we didn't. Yeah, but Sandy Taylor and Art Marchand and you and me, and it was fun. You still learn the process,
sure, absolutely.
And we were able to do a lot of things different than I was used to in 20. Because everything was open at that point, and we attended events. And one of the good things about it is we worked together as a team. It was amazing. Like, if we all couldn't be at the same place at once, so we would cover. Like, you would go here, I would go there, and they would always see one of us that was running in somewheres, or knocking on doors every single night. And
sure.
Going back to my dad when we talked about this whole thing with in 20, and he's like, I knew what his stance on were. In politics, he's like, you got to just make me one promise. He goes, you run on who you are and what you want to do. And I told Dad, that's what I'm going to do. And I did that in 20, and I did that in 24, and it worked out for us.
But you got to be proud of how you ran. you ran a clean campaign.
Absolutely.
It was oriented around the issues, issue-oriented campaign.
The issues and what we, the
What we
direction
believe.
that we believed,
Right.
right, that we should be going in. And, and there's a lot of people that agreed with us, when we ran.
We did have a lot of fun, and we met a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people don't realize the pressure that is put on the families.
Oh, absolutely.
Not just when we ran, we worked very hard. A lot of times you're out on the road eating, grabbing a dinner, really grabbing a sandwich. You know, and you go on to the next event. But a lot of people don't realize the pressure that's on the families. Okay, you're not home. All right.
Yeah.
And my wife always had my back. I know that your wife had yours.
Absolutely.
Okay, she always had my back. And even when I ran, because let's face it, I there was a number of years that I was off from being a commissioner or freeholder.
Yep.
And when they asked me, and I went, I guess, to Sue, I said, you know what this is about, because when I tell you I ran enough times, I felt like Abraham Lincoln because I lost about that many times. Okay, but the point I'm getting at is I looked at her and I said, you know the deal.
Right.
You know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I said, so the question is, are you ready for it?
Yeah.
And she said, I always had your back. And that's a God's honest truth. She always had my back, and she always supported me. And
It's
I know
funny
you
because
had the same
I
support.
I guess everybody, like, nobody told me to have that kind of conversation, like give me the insight on, hey, this is how you need to do this. But we had those conversations, and I remember when the time came for me to go and put my name in again and go in front of the convention and do stuff. I remember having the conversation with my wife Denise there, weeks before and even leading up to it, like, hey, what this is going to be like, what do you think? Like, let's talk about it. And she was, 100% behind me. And we had 4 kids, and they were all old, they were older, but there's a lot going on.
Sure,
there's
absolutely.
a lot going on,
Right.
and you need to be a part of that, and also put in 100% effort into the campaign too, because there's no sense of doing it if you're not going to put 100% into it.
Felt good to win.
It felt good to win.
It felt
I
very,
tell
very
you,
good to win.
the
We
night
swept. You think about it, we swept.
Yeah, we did.
We did.
And
We
then
swept.
it was completely different from 20 because you couldn't do anything. Like, being a part of those watch parties, the years that you're not running, and we go out, the spot we go out to there, and it was fun and it was exciting. But when it was in 23, when we're there that night, like, I was good up until election night. I think I was good up until about 5 o'clock. And then all of a sudden it just, it hit you, and like, well, I don't think we could do any more than what we did. There's 3 more hours, it's closing. And it was like overwhelming.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God, But then once 8 o'clock hit, I remember going, nothing to be overwhelmed about now, because it's time,
Well, the thing is, that's when you work as hard as we did, when you run, and I'm actually telling this to the people, not to you, because you already know, when you run, you have to, at that night, you have to say that there's nothing else I could have done. No matter what. So if there is a loss, it's not the type of loss where you go like this. I should have done. I should have gone. I should have been here. I should have gone there. I should have. I think maybe I should have made another 100 phone calls.
Right.
I think that night, all of us, 5 of us, okay, all right. I think we just looked at one another and said, "There's really not much more that we could have done."
Right.
Now it's really up to the voters.
Now
it's up to the people. And we were very fortunate. We won, and we won pretty handedly. It was a good win. But if let's face it, it feels good when you win.
Oh my God! I mean, like, we sat
pressure
there for
just comes
hours,
off,
and it was funny, my wife getting a more understanding of how things worked and what was going on. She's watching the screen. changing.
Yeah.
But you kind of know the numbers because people are calling in the numbers, and you kind of know. And I'll never forget going up to her 9:30, quarter to 10 or something like that. I forget even what it was, and I'm like, we won, like all of us. And she's looking up. She goes, "Well, doesn't say it there." And I was like, "I know, but it's coming. Like,
yeah,
we all won. Like,
yeah.
We're good. Like, we relax a little bit now." She goes, she looked at me. She goes, "I'm not relaxing until I see it up there on the screen." And I was like, "Okay, that's fair, but I'm telling you, we're good. It's coming."
All right. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take another break, and then what we do when we come back, we're going to talk about your first year. How's that sound?
Absolutely.
Is that good?
Yes.
Okay, we'll be back after these messages.
Allen Associates is a family-owned and operated full-service agency, managing a broad base of clients in the New Jersey area. Allen Associates has been a leader in health benefits and financial services including health, prescription, life insurance, pension, 401k plans, and estate planning. With more than 60 years of experience and a staff of highly trained and dedicated professionals, Allen Associates is noted for its ability to build strong, long-term relationships with our clients and the communities we serve. Give them a call today at 856-692-2250. Allen Associates, your complete health and financial services, Vineland, New Jersey.
Many people treat their health like a game. With Complete Care Health Network, it's easy to start your healthcare journey. Just select from our specialties and schedule online, by phone, or on our app. Our entire team communicates with one another, so everyone works together on your total health. Plus, we make it even easier with all of these additional benefits. Level up your health with us. Complete Care Health Network. No games, just great healthcare for everyone.
In Cumberland County, let's recycle right. We recycle cardboard, paper, aluminum, tin, and plastics number 1 and 2. Look for the 3-arrow triangle usually on the bottom of the plastic container. The number in the center determines the plastic number. Remember to recycle only number 1 and 2 plastics. Plastic bags, plastic film, hoses, and wires are not recyclable. They can damage sorting equipment and create hazardous working conditions. Don't trash our future. Do the right thing. Remember, reduce, reuse, and recycle.
With the latest county hot topics, news, business, and events. It's time for Spotlight on Cumberland County. Now let's join our host, Commissioner Director Jim Sauro.
Welcome back. As they said, I'm Jim Sauro. I'm the Cumberland County Commissioner Director, and we're here with Sheriff Mike Donato, and we've been going through a lot of different. I think we've gone through more than you thought we were going to do.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
the life and times of Michael Donato. Well, what we're going to do now is we're going to take a little bit of time, and we're going to start talking about your first year. We want to talk about after you won. Of course, you go back and you sit down and you think about, all right, what am I going to do this first year? And I'm sure that you sat down and you formulated a plan on what the first thing you wanted to do, the direction you wanted to go. And what we want to know is, what was your thought process, Mike?
So, it was a very unique situation, and I got to tell you, like, from between election day, the next morning we woke up, I was like, I can't believe this. We won, and your phone's blowing up, and everybody's calling and congratulating. That month and a half felt like 3 years waiting to get there on January 1st.
Yeah,
it really did.
Yes,
because I had started planning years in advance of the stuff that I would like to see, because you plan to win. Like, I had had it thought out in 20. Some of the things changed here and there as the time went on, but I was very fortunate because I was familiar with the process. Like, I was familiar with the office. I'd worked there. Even as a county detective at the prosecutor's office, I worked with the sheriff's officers at the courthouse and on the road, and still stayed involved and knew them and was able to talk to them about, the stuff they're doing. And we always kept them involved when we could utilize their services when we were doing different jobs. But I was really fortunate because I brought 2 undersheriffs in with me that were also very familiar with it. Michael and Tom Speranza, came in with me as my undersheriffs. Those guys started their careers at the Sheriff's Department and worked for many, many years there before both of them went to Bridgeton. So we had a good institutional knowledge of the place. And other than not having the jail under the sheriff, a lot of the functions didn't really change. It was, you have the courthouse security. Obviously, the courthouse has grown over the years with the manpower and the situation. And you had the downtown, the enforcement division that does your warrants and all your other stuff. Like, that stuff's kind of been the same. It's just a matter of how you're going to manage it.
Right.
So we had a plan going into that and things that we wanted to see. And, that first month, January 1st comes and, nobody's even working, but we're in the office trying to figure this out, right, and doing some stuff. And the plan was to basically go in, meet with the supervisors, meet with the officers, introduce ourselves for those that didn't know us. Majority of them had already knew who we were. And then we kind of just watched the process, met with the supervisors, and gave it a good month. We're just tweaking things here and there that we saw that we knew we were going to change, but really not making any drastic manpower changes or anything like that, because we wanted to see how things were operating. Because there's a lot of stuff that behind the scenes that you don't see unless you're in there. And then slowly but surely we started to institute some of the things that we wanted to do. One of my biggest goals was to make the Sheriff's Department, have them more visible out on the road. Getting involved with assisting the municipalities and supplementing things and helping out in any way that we possibly could. And I knew that plan would work because I knew the city chiefs. I knew a lot of the command staff in Bridgeton, Millville, and Vineland at the police departments, the station commanders and some of the detectives and sergeants that were still working in Port Nars and the Bridgeton station. And I knew that we could get in and help these guys, and I knew it was going to work. And that's basically what we did. And from that point, we just, we were full speed ahead. And we were able to...
Any major changes that you thought had to be done within the first 6-8 months? Or?
Yeah, and one of them was the managing of the manpower. I mean, I think when we came in, I was 11 officers short. The courthouse is what it is. And there's 25 or 26 positions up there that need to be filled when that courthouse is fully functional, all the courtrooms and so forth. We didn't have that many people up there. So we were constantly having to draw from, the downtown, the Laurel Street office to fill those. So, there were some units there that I took some people from and just kind of managed it a little bit different and allocated the resources a little bit better to the things that I wanted done. And then we just kind of went on started hard charging when it comes to hiring. And we were doing good. We hired a bunch of people. We were able to, we pulled a couple people from police departments, which is unheard of. A lot of the people that come to the Sheriff's Department, they start their career and they move on. And then, a lot of it had to do with wages. But they got a good contract, a decent contract for what, and it's held people there. And I think that's a very good, because you don't want that turnover. With the county spending a lot of money to get these people trained and hired. And so that was part of the plan. If we can get them in here and we can start doing some more proactive things and working outside on the road and on the street, I think that's going to keep people here, because I know that was a big thing for me. Like when I was there, you come out of the police academy and you want to do things, and I was stuck at the courthouse for many years.
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going back. I'm thinking about different things. One, the county commissioners, were very. It was very important to us to have the best contract that we could possibly afford. Sure. And I think we did that.
You did.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think we did that. And I think, even though it might not have been exactly what the officers wanted, I think they realized that we weren't blowing smoke,
Right.
and that this was real.
Yeah.
We're doing the
No,
best
absolutely.
that we possibly can. I think they realized that.
And I can only speak for the two unions that I have, but they were very thankful and they thought it was fair on both sides.
Yes.
And you normally don't hear that.
Right.
I did contract negotiations for many years, and you have to be mindful because listen, not only are you working for the county, but you're paying taxes too. So, and I think they did a very good job with that in being mindful, and they knew that it was something that they could finally start to build on in the future. And,
Well, see,
they
that's
were
what
happy
I
with
was
it.
getting at. I really wanted to commend the other side, meaning, okay, the union
Absolutely.
working
Yeah.
with us. I mean, I believe that, excuse me, that the administration, our administration, and the union worked well together, looking to solve problems, not create problems, and I think it worked out well. Because now, what we hear from you, this is now what I hear, okay, you're retaining these officers, they're not leaving,
Right.
okay, which is very important because it used to be a turnover site.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
And I was happy that first year I lost one guy. And the only reason why I lost him was he didn't live in Cumberland County, but he traveled 55 minutes a day to and from to come to work. And I'll never forget when he left and he requested to come see me, and we went and talked, and he's like, Sheriff, I don't want to leave here. Like I'm liking what I'm seeing in the direction that things are going. He goes, but you got to understand, I told him, I said, listen, I understand. I understand. I understand what's going on. But we were able to hire some more people, and it was good. Like we are attracting a lot of people to come, to go through the process. I did lose a couple this year to retirements, and one guy on a medical. You can't help that.
Do you feel that the officers believe that now they are real police officers?
Yeah, and
because
I think
there was a time where we had heard. I mean, this is even going back a number of years, that some of the sheriff's officers felt like all they were like a security guard for, the courthouse, okay, and that they weren't officers.
Right. It's it's the vision at the top. I know kind of what I wanted ours to do. I feel confident and comfortable with, making sure they're trained and get the training up to speed and the stuff that they're doing, make sure they understand what they're doing, know their job. Because if you're doing something that you weren't doing before, like car stops and whatever, helping out and doing proactive details in the cities and whatever, one of the things we wanted to make sure that the guys are up to speed on their training.
Right.
And the majority of them were. But when you start to do something new, you got to make sure that they understand that. And listen, let's face it, and they're safe in doing that. And that's what we did. And then we slowly started to get into doing a lot of these proactive stuff. But, we're hiring. I think we're 6 short now, but we do have another retirement. But I want to say we have 20 plus applications in the wind right now. We're in a hiring phase up until March 31st. We've brought everything online. You can go right online to the website, fill out the initial application, start the process. And I want to say we have 20, 21, 22 applications that are just people that are ready to go, hopefully to begin the process for the academy in the summer. And it takes a while. So, we've started it earlier. There's a process to it. And, we're excited. I'm excited. Because the more we can grow, the more we can get out there and be visible. And
well, okay. That being said, that leads into my next question. Are there any new initiatives that the sheriff's department is now doing versus what it was doing, what it wasn't doing before? So are new programs or whatever?
So I obviously there was always certain programs that the sheriff's departments had for many, many years throughout all the different sheriffs. I just started, I took a couple of them. The K-9 program, and we have our own drone program. We've expanded that. We've got operators for that. And, these are all resources now that the police departments and fire departments and first responders, we're offering to them. The canine program is a great thing. We've been through several different dogs for various reasons, but that's up and running. That's strong. The drone program, we've got several drones that we now use. We have operators that are licensed, because you need a license to go through that. The community programs. Some of these programs have always been around. We're just expanding upon them. The community policing unit, I made some changes within that unit. I now have one person in there as opposed to 3 or 4, and that person manages it, puts it all together. Things come into her. She manages it. She starts the schedule. She does all the community events, and then I feel it's important not just to have 1 or 2 people at the same people at these events. I bring in the officers from all over the place, and we put these details out because I want them to get out to be able to do some of that stuff too. And I think where we are utilizing different people instead of giving the same people assignments, we're spreading out the wealth, I guess, to say, with giving them drones or the community policing events and just different things, different instructor roles. There's buy-in from everybody. They're all buying into this, and they see that we're just not handing the same 4 or 5 people everything. We are spreading it across the board the best we possibly can.
Well, that makes a difference, and I think that builds confidence in them.
Right.
Listen, what we're going to do is take one more break, and then we'll be back, and we'll wrap everything up.
Sounds good.
Allen Associates is a family-owned and operated full-service agency, managing a broad base of clients in the New Jersey area. Allen Associates has been a leader in health benefits and financial services including health, prescription, life insurance, pension, 401k plans, and estate planning. With more than 60 years of experience and a staff of highly trained and dedicated professionals, Allen Associates is noted for its ability to build strong, long-term relationships with our clients and the communities we serve. Give them a call today at 856-692-2250. Allen Associates, your complete health and financial services, Vineland, New Jersey.
Many people treat their health like a game. With Complete Care Health Network, it's easy to start your healthcare journey. Just select from our specialties and schedule online, by phone, or on our app. Our entire team communicates with one another, so everyone works together on your total health. Plus, we make it even easier with all of these additional benefits. Level up your health with us. Complete Care Health Network. No games, just great health care for everyone.
With the latest county hot topics, news, business, and events. It's time for Spotlight on Cumberland County. Now let's join our host, Commissioner Director Jim Sauro.
Well, I'm Jim Sauro. I want to thank everybody for staying with us.
Hopefully they did.
No, I think they did. I think they stayed with us. And we're here with our Cumberland County Sheriff, Michael Donato, and we've talked about a lot of different things, and we were talking about new initiatives. And I'm going to ask you, what do you think this year? What do you have in store this year that you would like to see happen that you either might add or take away from the Sheriff's Department?
So a couple of the, and I say we're very fortunate in just to talk about the process a little bit that we're starting now, but this process takes months to get people hired. There's so many different phases and stuff that you have to go through, and it's difficult. So the last time we have a young lady in the academy right now in Atlantic County, started out with 12, and we sent one to the academy. It's the different processes and stuff that goes on, but it's a great process. It gets we look to get the very best people that we can. I mean, because you're putting a lot of time, you put effort into this, it's money, and this job's difficult. So you want to make sure you have the right personnel. So we're happy with that, and very hopefully coming up in this next class we'll have a bunch more. A couple of new things have started with the county that we've been a part of, and we've got some officers trained in search and rescue. The county now has a countywide search and rescue team that was put in place for missing persons and things of that nature. Somebody wanders off, and there's a countywide team that started at one of the fire departments up in Upper Deerfield, and it's fire departments throughout the county can be. So we added officers to that to give that law enforcement aspect of it. So we're doing that, and that's good. So we kind of spread that out to some of the younger officers, and the county's in the process now. We're starting a countywide entry team. So the sheriff's department's playing a good role in that entry SWAT team training that we have to do. They're in training now. So several of our people, along with officers from Bridgeton, Millville, Vineland, and the prosecutor's office.
Well, now that you mentioned the other city, I was told that your sheriff's department is working a lot closer with the cities, with the Vineland, Millville, Bridgeton, and then if you want to elaborate on that.
Yeah, I mean we are, and so I look at it as we're there to help and supplement the best we possibly can, because let's face it, manpower everywhere is difficult for people to hire. Everybody's short. So at any point, these guys know, especially during the daytime when they're working, or we're constantly monitoring the other radios, and we're sending officers to assist as needed with various calls throughout the county and help out the best we can. We did some supplemental enforcement details here in Millville last summer, because they were having some issues, and they were shorthanded too. So we would send a group of officers over and a supervisor to help out 4 or 5 hour shifts and help out as needed and help them out. But those are the proactive things that we're doing, and getting these officers just to think a little bit differently. Like when I think of patrol, and because I was on the road in Bridgeton, I tell these guys, when you're going from point A to point B, like we're always leaving from Bridgeton and heading somewheres. You get down to Lawrence Township and pull over there, park in the parking lot, the municipal building, or by the school. Just sit there for a few minutes. I mean, people don't realize, just being visible, the deterrence that has.
Sure.
Don't just drive through the town and not do anything. Pull over, drive down a side street, it just because it takes you a little bit longer to get to point B, that's fine, because people want to see
correct
police cars. And we did a detail, and I brought this detail back. I don't think it had been done for many years, but the Halloween detail, Halloween night, we would always see sheriff's cars in town. People loved it. One of the things I thought was, we're going to bring that back, and we were able to manage that this year during Halloween in some of the townships in the cities, and they were driving around, and I mean, we were inundated over the next week with phone calls and messages, and people saying they've never had a sheriff's car in their neighborhood before.
Oh, wow.
And we were getting, it was very complimented, and I just tell them, you go there, you park, and you just sit there, let people see it, be visible, and that's one thing that I've instilled, like, from day one, just to hammer into them, and they've been doing it.
And it's working.
It was very well received, very well received.
Well,
and I think it's working.
Well, it's important that that the officers are happy where they're at. They want to stay. I think that's important. What we didn't touch on was the amount of money you saved the county. I mean, you made some changes at the department, and the county benefited by it, and it was quite a bit of money. How much money?
I'd have to look at the numbers. I was, obviously we're working with the budget this year, and I kind of, when I look at that kind of stuff, I go, what do we need? What would we like?
Right. Exactly.
But what do we need? And we were able to do a lot of things, and I want to say that, the operating budget was 90 or maybe 100,000. I think we turned back in last year. Just we operated, we worked, we did a lot of things, and I was able to turn back some of the operating money. And I managed things a little bit differently when it came to the overtime, and changed some scheduling and things around, and managed to cut that back a little bit, and able to get more of our civilian dispatchers in there, as opposed to filling some of those slots with overtime from officers.
Right.
So we have, our dispatch center is almost pretty much all civilians at this point, which helped cost savings a little bit. And the biggest thing, it helped me, because I took those officers and utilize them other places. And that's the biggest thing. I can now utilize them on the street or at the courthouse and on the road and doing various assignments.
Well, the last thing is you helped out the jail.
Yeah.
We just heard that at the meeting.
Yeah.
Tuesday night.
Director Albino and I have a really good working relationship, and along with Warden Riggins. Look, he struggles with manpower.
Sure.
And I don't ever promise him that I can get him people, but and it comes back to the officers when we're asking them to assist with these hospital details and transport trips and stuff like that. They're doing it. And they want to do it, and they want to help too. So it's very good. And I thanked the director when he got up in front of the meeting the other night and said that. But I knew he truly meant it, and we have a great working relationship, and we'll always have that as long as I'm concerned.
Well, Michael, I want you to know that the commissioner's thinking you're doing a great job.
I appreciate that.
And I really want to thank you for taking the time to sit down.
We're done already?
Yes.
I'm just getting warmed up.
Well, I don't know. Maybe we could do another hour.
We're good.
We're good. Well, no.
I do honestly, Jimmy. I just, I can't believe that first year's over. I mean, year two, right? The first year's done.
First year's done.
We're in around year two, and
round two.
We got to have all that fun again next year.
We get to do it another year,
right?
and then work hard again,
right?
Okay, knock on doors and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
but, I think we'll be fine. But again, I want to thank you. I think the
you.
people of Cumberland County, thank you for everything that you're doing, and I really appreciate it, big guy.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Very much.
Take care. Hey, I'm Jim Sauro. I'm the Cumberland County Commissioner, Director, and we just had a great time this past hour. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This has been a QBC television production, in association with our partners and sponsors. QBC broadcasts on Comcast Cable Channel 22, and live streams its programming on Facebook and YouTube. All rights reserved by Quinn Media and QBC, programming that serves the South Jersey market.